Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to my overview on all of the Machinist updates coming to 14 in Dawntrail. I was recently given the opportunity to try out all of the job changes at the North American Media Tour, and as such, I made videos on all of them. So be sure, when you're done with this one, check out the playlist in the description and look at all of them. Quick disclaimer though, Dawntrail is still in development and everything you see here is still subject to change. Potencies, effects, whatever it is, it could be different by the time early access rolls around. Now, Machinist is mostly similar to its Endwalker counterpart, though with some added quality of life and additional multi-weapon tools. Pre-level 90, there are a few updates to note. Heat Blast now upgrades to Blazing Shot at level 68, increasing the potency and updating the animation. You'll also notice an update to Barrel Stabilizer. It no longer grants 50 heat, instead granting the Hypercharged buff for 30 seconds. This simply lets you activate Hypercharge for free one time. Considering the buff lasts 30 seconds, this should make managing heat ahead of your burst window much easier. Post level 90, there are a few changes that are standard across all the Fizz ranged in Dawntrail. At level 94, you get Enhanced Second Wind, increasing the potency of it to 800. Bigger personal heal, basically. Marksman Mastery 2 at the same level increases the potency of your heated combo, scatter gun, and auto crossbow. And for the last standard-ish update, at level 98, they get Enhanced Tactician, which increases the damage reduction of the skill to 15%. As for new skills, it's entirely updates to existing ones and buttons transforming into new buttons. At level 92, you get Double Barrel Mastery. This upgrades Gauss Round and Ricochet into Double Check and Checkmate respectively. They just have higher potencies and a new animation, but the same function. At level 94, you get Enhanced Multi-Weapon, which gives you a second charge of Drill and Bioblaster. This will help with cooldown management and also grant you another big hit during buffs. Enhanced Multi-Weapon 2 comes at level 98, causing Chainsaw to grant you Excavator ready for 30 seconds. This buff changes Chainsaw into Excavator, a 700 potency AoE around the target with a 50% falloff. Excavator also grants 20 battery gauge, just like Chainsaw. Now, these combined multi-weapon changes are quite important. This now gives you 5 tools to use in your burst windows between the 2 drills, Air Anchor, Chainsaw, and Excavator. So your basic heated combo basically doesn't even need to be there. That's not to say that experienced machinists won't find a way to incorporate a GCD or so, but at the very least that seems to be the intent. You'll also get 60 battery from the combo of Air Anchor, Chainsaw, and Excavator every time, ensuring an easy queen activation during your opener and reopeners. It does also slightly improve their AoE thanks to Excavator being an AoE around the target. Finally, at level 100, you get Enhanced Barrel Stabilizer, causing the buff to also grant the Full Metal Machinist buff for 30 seconds. This changes the button into Full Metal Field, a GCD skill that delivers a 700 potency critical direct hit in an AoE around the target with a 50% falloff. Another big skill to hit during 2s and another bit of AoE added in. So Machinist definitely got some cool stuff added to their buffs, and that second multi-weapon charge helps a lot with their buff management, especially in the case that you maybe misactivating a drill by 1 GCD or something like that. However, one of my biggest gripes in Endwalker was how divided the job feels between its single target and AoE rotations, and those still seem to be entirely separate. Auto Crossbow doesn't lower the Double Check or Checkmate cooldowns, Bioblaster and Flamethrower are still functioning the same, and the entire battery gauge mechanic has no AoE associated with it at all. The only AoE you get is the damage from Excavator, which happens to give you 20 battery. I'm kind of disappointed with how disjointed the job's design continues to be, especially when, over the last several expansions, most other jobs have seemingly gotten much more cohesion baked between their single target and AoE rotations. Now, so long as fight design doesn't deviate too much towards the progressive use of bouncing between single target and AoE, it should be fine. Machinist has really shown its strong points since getting Dismantle in Endwalker, and we've seen a lot more of them. It doesn't really solve the whole latency-related problems that people have talked about for ages and ages at this point, but there's plenty of people who can still enjoy the job for what it is. However, I'd like to note that the one dungeon we had access to in the media tour actually introduced an ad phase in a couple of the different bosses, and given the way that some of the other job changes are, I'm wondering if we're moving towards a game that more frequently swaps between single target scenarios and multi-target scenarios. On one hand, with Machinist not being designed for that, it may be a bit frustrating. On the other hand, it may give really experienced machinists time to shine, to show that, despite the fact the job's not forced into being single target and AoE at the same time, that there are ways to optimize on it, and thus may even actually improve skill expression for the job, but we're just going to have to wait and see. At the very least, that single target rotation should feel a lot smoother, and you'll get more bigger numbers, except for Wildfire. That's still just kind of... yeah, it's Wildfire, still. Anyway, that's going to be a wrap for my video on Machinist in Dawntrail. Be sure to like and subscribe and check out all those other videos on all the other job changes. With that, I'll see you in the next one, and until then, take care.